my gorgeous fans, whether you're male or female. Anyways, this is my very first theory video and my very first Disney theory video. This one is from The Princess and the Frog, and this one is about how Dr. Facilier got to be the way he is in the movie. So, this one is actually called The Misunderstood Doctor. So, here we go. Anyways, so no one actually knows what Dr. Facilier's real name is, but we do know one thing. Both he and Mama Odie have magical powers. But not just any magic powers, though. Shadow magic. Knowing and using shadow magic can either be good or bad depending on how you use it, really. You see, Dr. Facilier uses it for, shall we say, evil, but Mama Odie uses it for good, of course, for the light side, to help people. So now the theory goes that Mama Odie once had a son, but as a little boy, he ran away because the deep forest was way too scary for him. I understand that in the deep dark woods that a kid would be so afraid of it to run away like that, but to run away from his mother, that's just demented, right? Anyway, so what happened is that he found his way into the city of New Orleans, apparently, and he found his way into the French Quarter, but he got lost in the French Quarter because this was very unfamiliar territory. He was so used to being in the forest, even though he disliked it. But when he was in an area that he did like the city, it was so unfamiliar to him that he got totally lost. So what happened is that he was found by the owner of an orphanage, so he was put in the orphanage. And so the years went by, and now he's in his adolescence. Of course, his powers were starting to kick in, and he used them to torment the other children of the orphanage. If it sounds a little bit like this is from Harry Potter, trust me, it may be a little bit like that, but it's not exactly like that. So, sorry about that. It's like 7:20 right now over here. Anyways, so what happened after that is that there was this couple that came to the orphanage. Their surname was, of course, the Faciliers, and they were coming in to adopt a kid because Facilia's wife was in the same situation that Guinevere was with King Arthur. So it's like, she wasn't able to make her own babies. She wasn't able to give birth to any of her own kids. So, but they still wanted kids, so they came to the orphanage to adopt. Anyway, so when they saw the boy, they personally thought that he was an angel. Not literally, though, of course, for all you scientists or what do you call it, atheists out there. In other words, they saw him as a good person, they did see him actually using his powers, but when they saw him use his powers, they saw him using it for personal gain, I think. It was to I think it was, he was making ice. Shadow powers making ice. Shadow powers, yes. Shadow magic actually includes different kinds of powers. When you use shadow magic, you can have different kinds of powers. Just mostly, it's called shadow magic because apparently the main power you have is the ability to not just manipulate but create shadows as well. Anyway, so when so they decided they wanted to adopt him, and they did. And so sorry. So what happened is that they brought him home. The papers and everything. They seriously didn't know what was in store for them because they didn't know how big of a troublemaker he was going to be, because I mean they knew he had powers, they knew he had magical abilities, they just didn't know what he was going to use them for, well, most of the time. Anyway, so when they brought him home, when they brought him home, that's what happened. Plus, after a few years living with them, his powers were easier to control. Although, as a teenager, he started using his powers for rebellious causes, but of course was straightened out by going to a special high school for gifted teens. They got to learn all the average, normal things that normal high schools would teach, but they also taught magic classes. So after graduation, he was accepted by. Sorry, my head is itchy. He was accepted by 3 top-notch colleges, and he chose the one closest to home. That is when he started getting into trouble. Although he did actually study a lot, he was a. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Although he did, not rephrase that, but started over. Although he did study a lot and was a straight A student, he tended to get involved with a lot of weird people. One of those weird people happened to have introduced him to a gang called the Shadowmen. Now, don't get me wrong, these were actual mortal human beings. But one day when they were all gambling together, he decided to bet his own soul and was willing to use his magic to separate it in case he lost. Well, guess what? He did lose, and he gave his soul to the gang. Seriously? So, see, what happened is that something went terribly wrong. When the gang touched his soul, because his soul, it was because that he did so many bad things with his magic that he had a black soul. And I don't mean black soul as in like literally like dark, like when you see the soul it's like black. Not that kind of thing. But more like dark is in like an evil sense. I'm sorry, not evil sense. More like he had a dark soul from his troubled childhood, I guess you could say. Because of running away and the orphanage. Anyways, so when the members of the gang touched his soul, something went terribly wrong, because when they touched it, they were drained of their souls. Of course, their first soul's reaction was to attach themselves to their former owner's shadows, and the shadows attached Facilia's soul to his shadow, and he became one of them. Anyways, Facilia got scared and tried to run away from his shadow, but it stuck to him forever. I mean, of course, we know in the movie of The Princess and the Frog that his soul can go wherever it wants. Well, that's because of the deal that they made. And here's the deal. And by here's the deal, I mean, here's the deal that I'm going to tell you that's in the, anyways. So what happened is that Facilia got scared and, wait, I already said that part. Sorry. Okay, so what happened is that he tried to reason with the Shadow Man to give him his soul back. He tried to black. He tried to reason with the Shadow Man to give him his soul back, but of course nothing would work. I mean, they're a gang, of course. I mean, they're a bad gang. When you try to make a bet with a gang when you try to make a bet like that with a gang, you've gone in way too deep. Anyways, so so what happened is that nothing worked. So the Shadow Man thought up an idea. Bring us the souls of 10,000 innocent people, and we will give you your soul back. The head of the gang. That's what the head of the gang said. You know, he's like this big, buff, bulky guy, you know? No, that was... Sorry, I was thinking about someone else from another movie. No, he was somebody tall. He had this, like, weird hat thing. The same hat, by the way, that Dr. Facilier wore in the movie. That's what the head of the gang said. And, of course, I mean, Facilier was willing to do anything to get his soul back, and so what he did is he accepted. So, in a way, I guess you could say the true villain, or should I say villains, of The Princess and the Frog would definitely actually have to be the Shadow Man. Or should I say definitely the Shadow Man, but I definitely say that the one that really put it all together would definitely have to be the head of the gang. So I definitely have to say that my result for this is that Dr. Facilier was just a victim of circumstance. That's what I think. Besides, it's a theory. It's just a theory. Well, I guess you could say it's a Disney theory, you know? I mean, because after all, it is from a Disney movie. Anyway, so if you liked my theory, please comment in the comment section below. Wait, below. And if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. And I could use as many subscribers as possible. Seriously. So if you happen to watch this and you watched the entire thing, please hit the subscribe button. It would do me a lot of good. Sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that. Anyways, thank you so much for hearing me ramble on about one of my favorite movies. So, thank you so much for being patient with me. I really do appreciate it. Oh, and one more thing. If you're watching this, Bethany Moda, maybe we could collab on something sometime. I would love to do that. Anyways, so thank you so much. I know I've been rambling on again. Sorry about that. I tend to do that. I don't know why. I just do. So, bye. May the shadows be with you.